Okay, so you can see it now, right?
Yes, we can see it.
So I think we can start now.
Yes, we can start.
Okay. So after when we went through the first lecture and hearing the feedback from all of you, I was thinking about, let's say, if we have to call this method something, then what should it be? So one fine day, I just thought that it should be Gana Paddhati. So I think I will just name it Gana Paddhati. So I had a talk with Sachin also on that. So the main idea is basically enabling your intelligence with harmonic perception and spectacular manifestation. See, why the spectacular manifestation, right? Now going back to the our this nakshatra padas, what we see is the chatuspada, right? So what it says is that the manifestation is fourfold. But remember, the creation is threefold. So the creation is threefold, but the manifestation is the fourfold. So because we are manifested, we have to have the fourfold. And that's why the fourth pada is very important. So anything you want to do in better in life, if you do not reflect on your fourth pada, whatever nakshatra falls on that, then there will be trouble in the creation that you do. So fourth pada in a way should be seen as a scale. If you cannot balance it, then you will have trouble in your creation. So now last time when we stopped at burning, so now basically is in a way the uh, creation of Kartikeya. So that's why the third uh, nakshatra, the Bhakti Pada, is Kritika Nakshatra, and I think the planet is Mars, right? Associated. And Kritika is the birth star of God, moon god Chandra. Now, how exactly? So there is a actually, if I don't know whether people know or not, but there is a difference between the way we think that the uh, Hinduism thinks how the universe is created and versus what the science thinks that the way it is created today. So they think that it is first the sun and then later the moon came. But we have some other kind of thinking that it's the moon and then the sun. It's Kritika is the birth star of moon god Chandra, and Kritika got is one of the wife of god Chandra, so that's why you see that this Bhakti Ganpati, who has been described as shining like a full moon during harvest season with garlanded with flowers. Bhakti Ganpati, dear to devotees, is indeed pleasant to look upon. He holds a banana, a mango, coconut, a bowl of sweet pyasa pudding. So now you can see that as Chandra was married to Kritika, the garland of flowers, and then the bhakti towards the marriage that has been taught to the couples. Nowadays, somehow we tend to think that it's only that the women has been told to be in a way bhakti yoga with her husband, but it's actually both. then only it's possible. And then he holds a banana, mango, coconut, and sweet and a bowl of pyasa pudding. So what relation does it have to the third step of pregnancy is this. One thing is that banana is very rich in fiber, and it has B6 vitamin, relieves nausea, vomiting. Mangoes have vitamin A, and it is associated with lower immunity, higher constipation like diarrhea, respiratory infections. So all these things, you can see that each and every fruit has a meaning in this uh, iconography or statue you want to call, because there are in South India there is a place where you can go and see them. I am not a female, so I don't know, but I think it is correct because my wife also liked to eat a lot of kheer, the rice pudding, when she was expecting my son. So coke and coconut milk. Now during pregnancy, uh, it's an excellent source of fat, and it promotes healthy baby, increasing volume of urine and breast milk. So what is the association of coconut milk and breast milk? So there is a specific kind of enzyme which you can see in coconut milk, which is in breast milk, which can in nature can only be found in coconut milk. So coconut milk is very, very actually good, and coconut oil is good for frying foods. So if you are frying anything, it should be coconut milk. Now there is even a different thinking in this what we say in modern medicine, that coconut oil causes more cholesterol, but cholesterol are of two types, LDL and HDL. So so that is one thing that is in what we can say is not matching up with the modern science. But coconut milk is good for coconut oil is good for frying. So that's why in South India, anything is fried in coconut oil. Now, Kritika, there is one interesting story of Shukracharya and Kritika. So there is a story that once Shukracharya was doing immense amount of meditation and trying to figure out a way to get Sanjeevani mantra. So he was meditating on Lord Shiva, and Shiva was kind of had to come forward and say that, okay, what do you want? So Shukracharya first wanted to live forever, which Shiva said that it's not possible because creation, the rule of creation is that it has to be destroyed. So whatever is created has to be destroyed. So I cannot give you that. So what do you want? So he said that, okay, then I want this mantra called Sanjeevani mantra, so that which can give the rejuvenation or the rebirth. So Shiva actually gave that boon to Shukracharya. And what it actually, in a way, if you think about it, what it means is that Shukracharya got associated with sperm, semen, rebirth. So then what happened is that once he got the boon, then the earth got totally acquired by the Shukracharya's people, and the devas got into trouble. So then what happened is the Devas went to Shiva and said that, okay, what can be done about it? And they wanted Shukracharya to be dead. Now Shiva said that this is something that I cannot do, but what I can do is I can contain him. So Shiva sent one of his ganas called Kritika. Now that is the main thing. When you hear that story, the word Kritika is very important in that story. It's directly associated with this nakshatra. So he sent one of his ganas called Kritika, and Kritika is the one who actually swallowed Shukracharya into her womb. And then the Mahakal and Shukracharya went into Mahakal. Now, what exactly is Mahakal? Right? So, in a way, now what you heard before is a description of basically, uh, if you think about it, is semen going inside and then the uterus getting, and then the egg the fusion happening, right? And Shukracharya going into Mahakal. So we know how the time goes for us, but do we have any idea on how the time goes for the babies? We don't. Now, Kritika is also associated with fire, and Chandra. Chandra is associated with mother also, right? So to support this in a way, if you look at it, it is an incubator. So we incubate eggs. So that's where is basically the time zone of that uterus is totally independent. And now you tell me what comes first for the child. Does the mother come first? Because if you see, there is this Vamsi, can you go on mute, please?
If you see like this, which is big, full apple is big or half solid? Because it's
Vamshi.
1 by 1. This is
Vamsi?
1 by 2. This is 1 divided by 1. 1 can be written as 1 divided by 1.
Sachin? So, okay.
Sorry about that.
So, if you look at the child, right? So the child is the creation, right? It's the creation that is happening. And then there is a cord that is attached to the child. So now for the child, did the mother come first or did the son come first or the father come first, right? So that is a different way that can be thought and why we think that the moon comes first rather than the sun, how it comes first. So this is the interesting story of Shukracharya. So in all these stories, when you look and you look at the name Kritika, or you can always look at very, very alternate names of Kritika. Now, how we will see that, I will show you how you can even peek into the Egyptian mythology for this. Now, Ganpati, who is associated with Kritika Nakshatra. So we'll try to understand basically the spiritual significance of Khandava forest story. So the Khandava forest story happens before the Mahabharat war, when Lord Sri Krishna takes Arjun to Khandava forest to clear it up because anyways he needed some practice, and the forest was filled with very evil serpents and evil spirits and all those. So in a way, if you think about it, once the creation happens, After that, immediately, what starts happening is the forest of evil starts growing in our heads, the ego, Indra, in a sense, if you think about it. Right? Now we attacked Arjun with his bolt Vajra. Now Vajra is actually associated with moon. Now moon is what actually? Emotions. So once we actually take the birth, the biggest problem in our manifestation is actually our emotions. So even when you look into when you look into the Kundli, you will see Vajra in some of these places. It will be associated with the moon, and Vajra is like the cold energy in a way, right? So over here, Indra comes uh, atop his elephant. Now, why the elephant? Now, elephant, what is it associated with? It is associated with memory, tons of memory. And Indra is the ego sitting on top of the memory. Now, if you remember, right, when Brahma got this four heads and he was creating, then he got the fifth head, which was severed by Shiva because of his ego. So over here, Airavat, the ultimate elephant, who is also associated with the Nagas, on top of it is sitting Indra, the ego. And he comes over here, tries to save all the evil things in the, whether you want to call neurons, forest, it's the same thing, because if you look at the neurons, it looks similar to a forest. So over here, and why the rains, right? Now rain is associated with what? When you actually are in a gloom, where you are like sad, then you always have all the sad, many of the sad songs you will see in clouds and rain going on. So that is what it is. So once you get into the creation, and now it is your turn to be dancing and be the manifestation. So that is what it is associated with. So so over here, so now these are how you have to connect the stories. So Indra is actually the fifth head of Brahma in a way. Now it's in a way it is like end of Aries and beginning of Taurus. So if you look at the face and the horns, and it's in a way it's kind of same, and it requires kind of very similar activities, right? Now, frankly speaking, we wouldn't have been able to come to Taurus without the Aries capability of ramming from the very beginning, how the creation happens. Whether you called it the roar of Shiva or you call the act of doing it. But without the ramming, you cannot come to the Taurus part. Now, if you look at it, it is all associated. Means over here, in a way, males are in a way totally in a way missing. So this actually goes with, now if you look at mother, this line what you see over here on mother is called a memory line. Now, and the shape of this and these animals face is the same. You can just even go step backward and see it again. It's exactly the same. Now, what gives the creation of the mother and the father, the initial energy is the breast of the mother, which keeps on feeding the kid so that the kid can become independent. Now, volcano, if you look at it, it is actually exactly like that. And if you go near a volcano, they have very fertile lands. So Earth is a living, it's not a thing, it's living, it's Mother Earth. So we should take care of it. So if we cannot take care of our mother, of course, we will not be taking care of our Mother Earth. If we won't take care of Mother Earth, we won't take care of our mother. It goes both ways. Now, Veera Ganpati is Rohini Nakshatra associated with Lord Shri Krishna. It's a valiant form of Lord Ganesha. It has 16 arms. Lord Ganesha is depicted in standing posture with authentic armory weapons, which include God, victory flag, and in some cases it has been depicted with a plow. Plow is basically Balram associated with TikTok, the time, bow and arrow, mind powers you want to call it, or you want to call it the mess of emotions, or the basically the ego. It's one or the same thing. The discus, the sword, shield, large armor, spear, sword, axe, trident, noose, mace, chakra. It is like it has all the weapons, whatever you would require to get through. Now, fourth. So basically, over here, the Kartikeya came out. Kartikeya is associated with the war, the Lord of War. So pretty much it defines it. Yes, that okay, which totally makes sense that this Ganpati is with then, and of course when God sends us to this world, he wants us to win, right? He doesn't want us to lose. So he enables us with all these weapons that we should be basically using to to fight for our dharma, and he wants us to win. Now, what is our very first dharma is swadharma. As soon as we take birth in this world, our first dharma is swadharma, self-preservation. So for the baby, what it does is it actually directly just kind of looks for the breast. That's all its desire, right? So your self-preservation is the reason or the wish that you need to basically, and why self-preservation is important, because you have come over here with some kind of desire, because without desire it's not possible for you to having a birth over here. So your dharma is to fulfill your desire. That's your first swadharma, and vanquish the ignorance. Now over here, that is where the whole problem happens, is that dharma gets associated with the weapons in a way, because my desire can overstep your desire, your desire can overstep my desire, and we can basically step on each other. So this is resulting into, because we don't really understand all the parts which Krishna has the understanding of, and that is what this is, the past, present, and the future. And that's why once we come in, we get filled with ignorance, which we need to basically get rid of. Now, one of the symbol associated with Rohini Nakshatra is banyan tree. So if you look at, I don't know if everybody has looked at a banyan tree, a big banyan tree, but the majority of the people in India might have. So it is like very difficult to tell many times which is the root and which is the stem. So it's like it's like upside down, downside up. That kind of whole thing is. And if you want to actually get, let's say, if you are given a task of getting rid of this plant, just means, of course we don't want to, just means, but this kind of plant in your brain, you would require all kinds of powers. The bow and arrow over here does not really mean the physical bow and arrow in that sense. You need to basically be able to identify your weaknesses right up to the point and directly eliminate it. So that's why it has 16 hands, and the 16th from this is the Mula Nakshatra, the root. And the root basically is the Omkar, associated with Omkar, right? So Omkar, so if you want to vanquish the ignorance, you have two options. You either go into a meditation or live or a way of living of Omkar, or you go the other way of uh, what we call it as Ahankar. If you go the Ahankar also, eventually you will have to go to this nakshatra anyways, but then it becomes a Gandantha, a difficult point to cross over. So it's your choice if you want to go over there. I have myself been through a Gandantha point, and I can tell you, if you can avoid it by being in Omkar, it is awesome. So this is what it is signifies that with, so fourth over here plus fourth over in here in a way is Aniruddha. So what actually many times what people have misunderstood is the Aniruddha Nakshatra. Aniruddha Nakshatra is ongoing. It is directly associated with eternal, means it already has the present included in it. So Aniruddha Nakshatra is even right now also it is happening all the time. So it has to be looked in conjunction with the other padas. And if you do not self-reflect, all the desires will be messed up. If the desires will be messed up and you are not meditating in his form, your whole manifestation will be messed up. So manifestation is in your hand. Creation is not. He created you. But manifestation is in your hand. The way to do it is the fourth pada. If you are facing any kind of issues mentally or this emotionally, or not able to understand what's going on in this world and want to understand, might be the fourth pada, or you don't want to understand it, then you should really think about it. Why I don't want to understand it? Then also you will look at the fourth pada, because your fourth pada might be with the Mars lying in a totally a pada where it doesn't want to get involved with anything. But that's not the answer, right? Sri Krishna was like, you have to do what is required for today. So, so that's why the 16th from this is actually the Mula Nakshatra. And actually, if you take reverse 16 from it, right? So if you go it like 4, 3, 2, 1, like that, and you go reverse, then 16th minus 16th from it is Anuradha Nakshatra. So the Radha, the past. Got it? So the past is Radha. So you follow the past, that normally all of us do. Then this is the Veera Nakshatra. So your this current birth. and which will eventually, if you do not address this in the current birth properly, anyways, you will have to go through a Mula Nakshatra, where you will have to deal with the Gandantha. The better you perform over here, the easier it will be to go through your Gandantha. So when we look at the past over here, the past, the Vasudev doesn't mean your past life. It includes the last second also, last 1 hour also, yesterday also, everything it includes. So Vasudev includes everything which has happened just before, as from the day I have birth to right now, and it already went. So Rohini Nakshatra, the very favorite wife of Chandra, in one of the Vedangas, when we take birth, basically we go through this 16 sanskaras, which is there in the Kalpa Shastra, the rite of passages. So that is also basically associated with the 16 hands. So in the Vedangas, you will be able to find some understanding of it. Now, just to understand, basically have a summary of all the 16 sanskaras, or what we want to call it, right? Or our existence. If you look at it, right, the curve of the moon on Shiva's head, Buddha, moon. In any of these people, you see a halo or the moon. What actually it means is basically the moon is, in a way, the biggest of all in terms of manifestation. You want to have a better manifestation, you need to have a better understanding of your emotions. And it is not about the control, because if you try to control, it will be going the Hercules way. You will be just being cutting the snake for for eternity. Rather, it is about dancing like Krishna, dancing like Shiva. So that is the significance of spiritual significations and its relation to moksha. So in this, right, the now how this all goes in a very simple way to see it is that whatever we are affected in our manifestation, it is very true that all the manifestation is about emotions. The better emotions we have, the better the manifestation is. So, as per me, okay, it's my own thinking. I think the Chandra is the biggest guru of all. Why? Because Chandra is actually including everybody else. It includes Buddha, so Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. Because see, even when Saturn gives you anything good or bad, right? It basically just gives you those kind of pains, but you don't need to go through the sufferings. The suffering happens because the moon, the Chandra of ours, the emotions are not in our control. Now, control is a very bad word to use over here. We should have a very good word that is used by Dayanand Saraswati ji, is resolved, because control eventually has to go out of control. So the way he says it is very interesting. He said that you should be resolved in your deeds, whatever it is. You should know. So once you have your moon resolved, your this clearing of Khandava forest will be much easier, and you will even get the victory. You will get victory over your even the Gandantha point. And who will help you? 16th from the past, following Radha, Anuradha. So the devotion, the rituals, The rituals of being in meditation or self-reflection almost start with might be whatever you feel, might be every day, half an hour or something, and then be in every second, then we will be able to achieve what we can say is uh, the super intelligence, or today we like to call it in today's world is singularity. That's what it is. So this is what is the significance of Rohini Nakshatra. So whether anybody wants to believe it or not, it all applies to every one of us. Because see, the thing is, it's only a matter of time when all of us will be able to achieve moksha. Whether it is this life or not, that's not the question. Eventually, it is going to happen. So basically, your Ketu is being planting the flag in each life in different places. So eventually it will happen. You will get the rite of passage. That will happen. But how fast do you want to run is up to you. So eventually the understanding of moon is very important. You cannot use your Jupiter in a nice way if your emotions are disturbed. So now let's say that baby ate. So after that event, immediately it starts looking around. What's going on? Where did I come? Who am I? Kind of something like a Mrikshra, right? So Shakti Ganpati, Mrikshra Nakshatra. So he is four-armed, seated with one of his Shaktis on his knees. Shakti Ganpati, the powerful, of orange hue, guards the householder. He holds garland, noose, and god, bestows blessing with the Abhaya Mudra. Now, as soon as the child actually takes birth, all of us wants to actually think that, oh, none of the karmas are actually associated with, oh, that kid is totally independent of that. But really, the thing goes is that there are a lot of kids who are unable to get breast milk, a huge problem nowadays, right? So there are breast milk banks also. So that's why there is this noose and god. So noose is directly associated with the karmic knot, and god is basically the what we say in Hindi or Sanskrit is ankush, the instrument to control the elephant, right? So that's why the coconut and the Kartik that's why the coconut over here is important during the pregnancy. That's what I feel, and I looked on the internet, and it does say on some of the Ayurvedic sections. You can also check it out. So, Mriksha Nakshatra, the associated planet is basically Mars, right? So the orange hue, and it says like guards the householder. He holds garland, noose, and god, and bestows blessings with the Abhaya Mudra. So once we actually come into this world, of course, it is like we don't have any fear as a child actually. Fear comes as a form of a manifestation way later. So what fear is, if we try to really understand, the fear actually is you fear something that really does not exist, because fear only exists in the future. because in the present you are actually facing it. Fear always exists in the future. So when the baby takes birth, it really doesn't have any future, any fear. So one of the stories associated with Mriksha Nakshatra is the golden deer and the Sita Mata and the Ram Lakshman story, that one, right? So another very interesting story that is associated in the Native American culture is with the deer woman. So what dear women say is that basically that is the sign of personal transformation or a warning or a sign of trouble. So that is what actually, if you look at it, that's what happens in Ramayana. And that is what happens with the Mriksha Nakshatra. Because the deer has those antlers, they get stuck at a lot of places. And that is a kind of a trouble. So Abhaya Mudra, you can see in multiple different places also. So in Indonesia, Devi Parvati is sitting. So this is the Abhaya Mudra, if you look at it. Okay. And then over here is Abhaya Mudra with the Dhyani Buddha. Now in Buddhist culture, there are Dhyani Buddha. There are, I think there are 5 Dhyani Buddha. So he is the Lord of Karma in Buddhism, and it means fearlessness. So till you are not willing to explore, right, fearlessly, you will not achieve what you are trying to achieve. And that is actually moksha for everybody, currently or later. It might happen at any time. And that all depends upon one another thing, and that is the flow of karma that we will talk later. So even Buddhism, there is this Dhyani Buddha. It also, Dhyani Buddha has very interesting stories of it, but that is a very huge chapter by itself actually. I am also actually going through it. The others I have not finished yet. So